Hey guys, how's it going? Coaching for the Soul, Thursdays at 3. Da-da-da. So we will see who comes on here. There's a few things to talk about from Spirit. So we'll see who pops on. Someone's on, I just can't see him yet. Two people on. There we go. Hey Jessica, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Hey Catherine, how's it going? Things are amazing. I'm glad they are. Hey Jason, what's up, man? Jessica, I'm glad they are. I'm struggling this week. This energy is exhausting for me. Chimes, there you go. Chimes. Yep, it is. This week has been just exhausting for me. Yep, I'm just crazy. Hey Kimmers, how you doing? Hello Michelle. I love Michelle's name, Michelle Brown Dell. You should be a millionaire, lady. Yeah, hello, I'm Michelle Brown Dell, and I own this place. I love it. Yes, Jessica, energy's been super heavy the last couple days. I'm telling you what. Jason, I'm glad things are good. Things are good for you. How's your energy? How's the energy affecting you, Jason? Yeah, Catherine, energy's been weird, right? Yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Energy has been. I don't know. Just don't know. You know. I thought it was my allergies, and I got my allergy shots. And yesterday, all I wanted to do was sleep. I was exhausted yesterday, like I had been hit by a truck. Yeah, it's just been strange. Nauseated and all kinds of things, and you know, yeah, not sick. Just, hey Vic, how's it going? Just, hello Emily, how are you? Yeah, energy's been up and down, right? Yeah. Yep. So, I know it's not gonna get better soon, but, you know. Hi, Nancy Dempsey Denton. Are you exhausted too, my dear? Yep. It's exhausting for Capricorns, right, Nance? It's exhausting. Exactly. Catherine's like, she's exhausted too. Yep. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. You know? It's not really a struggle at all, right? It's just kind of like, ugh. Yeah. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Yeah. So we another couple minutes. See if anybody else popped on right after the ones that are here. Usually that's what happens. So I'll wait another couple minutes and we'll see what happens. See what's up. You know. He wants me to go. Okay. So So first thing that I wanted to talk about and re-talk about, because this kind of, sorry guys, this kind of made its point known today, this afternoon, in the last half an hour, is that I yelled at Bailey. I was frustrated, and I needed to apologize to him. Hey Amanda, right? And greyhounds are very, very emotional. They're like humans, right? And I was frustrated, and he was going outside, and we had to get back to do this, and I needed to eat something. And I'm like, come on, let's go, come on. And I'm like, my energy wasn't right, and my tone of voice wasn't right. And so he was hiding himself in the bedroom on his comforter in the dark. And that's when I know, and he's got his head down. Hey, Joni, he got his head down, right? And he doesn't raise his head when I come in the room and I turn the light on. So I know he's upset that Daddy's kind of yelled at him, okay? And I apologize like I always do give them hugs and kisses, and and then I have to look him in the face, right? So I have to get down on the floor and I have to look at him in the face and tell him how much I love him and I'm sorry and I didn't mean to do that, that I was just frustrated and I know that you don't understand what that means, but I'm sorry and I apologize. And so after that, I left the room, I got dressed, left the room, and here he comes, he's okay, So why Spirit wants me to talk about this again, to refresh everybody, right? And I will tell you that I didn't tell anybody that I was sorry in my life, even in my job. And I was like madman in my job, to about 15 years ago, okay? That was a huge step for me, all right? And when I did it, it became easier and easier and easier. And again, my employees were like my kids, right? I didn't know as much as I know now, right? If I did, I would have been a totally different manager, right? Would have been a totally different person. So why Spirit wants to talk about this is because when you yell at your children, just again, if you're really good at keeping your frustration and not taking it out on your kids or your spouse or your friends or whoever it is, make sure that on the chance that it might happen, okay, that you sit down and say you're sorry, that you understand, they understand that you really mean it, okay? Like for Bay, I have to get down on the ground, I have to get on the floor, I have to look him in his face, and I have to say, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to do that, I'm sorry, and things like that. Same way with children. Same way with kids. You have to get down on their level and you have to say, I'm really sorry. Daddy didn't mean to, Mommy, Daddy didn't mean to talk to you like that because, I know it's not right and I'm sorry, okay? And we don't do that enough, especially to ourselves, right? And that's another point Spirit was making in this situation, was the fact that people don't forgive themselves out loud. They don't say they're sorry, right? They don't, can you guys hear me? Amanda says she can. That's up all the way, so hopefully you guys can. And so, saying that you're sorry to yourself out loud, right? Saying you're sorry to your children, to your spouse, to your employees, let's say, right? Catching yourself, right? And then going back and apologizing, saying that you're sorry, that's not who I am. If it's an employee, things like that, that's how I started. Just explaining to them, I'm trying not to be that person anymore. But sometimes the behavior comes back, okay? And because I'm a daddy of a dog, right, who's extremely emotional, right? So when I know that when I'm not balanced in the morning, he looks at me and goes, well, Dad, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go outside and go potty? Do you want me to go first? Daddy, do you want to go first? My leash isn't on. Say, again, he gives me signals that, hi, Nicole. He gives me signals that, Daddy, I don't know what to do, okay? And in instances like this, I was in such a rush this afternoon because I've been really busy all day just with stuff, right? That readings and things like that, life, that I got out of character, okay? So really take a moment when, I know the chimes, when you do slip, to your kids especially, to your dogs, to your cats, to your spouse, to your friends, okay? Because, okay, and Spirit says to that, the main reason people don't say they're sorry, that they don't apologize, is because they say, hi Adrian, that, well, no one's ever done that to me. No one's ever done that for me. Why should I do that for other people? And you have to go, really? Do you really want that to continue? Is it really fair to that other person when you know how it makes you feel, not being told they're sorry? Say, so it's very, very important, guys. And I've talked about this a couple of times in the last year. I believe this week I think is my year anniversary of doing Coaching for the Soul. Okay, I'm not really sure, but I believe I did it the last week of the last week of August. Hi, Katrina. You know, is when I started doing them, I believe. So sometimes Spirit will want me to go over things again, just because again we're human, and we get into behavior, and we good or bad, right? And I try very, very hard to keep myself at a certain level, a certain pace, a certain tone of voice, right? Don't talk in my head as little as possible. Everything is out loud so I can hear it, right? Right? So it's super important to apologize to yourself, right? If you say something negative to yourself out loud, even in your head. Again, don't do anything in your head if you can. Do it out loud, okay? So the next thing I want to talk about is, okay, which one do I want to do, Spirit? That. Hang on, guys. Judgment, okay? Judging other people and also judging ourselves, okay? Since it's Thursday, I've had clients in the last 10 days that it works for them. Why doesn't it work for me? Hi, Tracy. Okay, and I call that the herd mentality, H-E-R-D, right? Because we like being in the herd because it's safe, okay? And we don't understand, and we judge ourselves. How come they can have that and I can't? How come they can have that happiness and I can't? How can they have that car and I can't? How come they can which is victim mentality, right? And trying to show people is very, very difficult, because to take the first step is absolutely excruciating for some people. Okay? So wondering why, and it's all done in their head, right? It doesn't get you anywhere. All it does is get you further into ego, but also further and further inside of that place that humans should not live. They should not live, okay? Because it brings you nothing but misery. Bad energy, misery, anger, frustration, no love, no self-love, okay? And a couple people in the past 10 days, I've had to talk about self-love, right? I thought that was a bunch of hooey. Trust me. When you grow up in a family that I grew up with an amazingly good-looking father, stop traffic, an amazing good-looking second brother, and an amazing good-looking sister, and you're in the middle, you don't really have a good self-image of yourself, right? Because, my gosh, Bill, your father is so handsome, your brother is so good-looking, and your sister's beautiful. Look at that blonde hair and her gray eyes and her olive skin. She's just beautiful. And Billy, you're cute. Hey, Jimmy, that's what I got most of my life. See? I wasn't the standout, right? I don't look like anybody in my family. The older that except for the freckles from my mom, the older that I get, the more I look like my dad, the more I think like my dad, the more that I sound like my dad, okay? But I was always that kid who didn't really fit into my family with the good looking ones. My mom was okay looking, but she wasn't beautiful, right? So I wondered for her how it was to say, oh my gosh, Margaret, Carl is so good looking. Oh my gosh. Again, my mom was a jealous woman, right? Not that mattered, because my dad was very good about making her not jealous, right? See? Because my dad was very friendly, very precocious, very wonderful, right? He loved people, right? But, so that was my example, right? To understanding that it's okay. I understand this later in life, right? Not when I was young. Gosh. Not probably until I was probably 50. And I'm 60 now. See? But Capricorns, the older that we get, the better looking we get. So again, it makes a difference. See? I come in, again, I don't look 60, thank God. I've got my father's DNA bonus, right? So that's a blessing. for me since what I went through when I was a kid. And all of us go through that stuff, right? So the judgment can be very, very, very intense. The judgment on ourselves, right? And also on how come they have it and I don't? How come they have it and I don't? Right? And I had that too. Trust me, I had that conversation in my head. Now I don't know how many times, right? About the haves and the have-not. When now I understand it's about me, right? It's about the way that I feel about myself. It's the way that I look at myself. It's the way that I understand that all that stuff that was inside of me that was negative, 99% of it is gone. Okay? I can now look at myself and go, yeah, that's who I am. You know, it makes a difference, right? That I wish I had a bigger body, but I don't. Okay? And understand that. My whole life I was skinny, right? Didn't start lifting weights until 2000, right? And I got up to be pretty good size. But then life happened, right? Life happened, and I still look good. You know, I still look good. But how do you feel about yourself? How do you talk to yourself? How do you live in the haves and have-nots? Do you continue to say negative things about well, I look fat today, or my hair's not right, or my makeup isn't right, or my goatee's not right, or whatever? There's always something that we can nitpick on that, in honesty, doesn't effing matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. You know, doesn't matter. To other people, again, if they say something, okay, whatever, you're petty. I mean, if I walk out of the house with one shoe on, I guess I could say something, right? Or different colored socks, one's purple and one's yellow, right? I mean, I don't know. I used to do that too. Kind of weird, right? Right? So be easy on yourself, Spirit says. Love, that's how you learn to love yourself. That's how you learn to stop criticizing. Stop thinking coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? I should have went more to college. I should have done this. You can't change the past. You know, stop. Look to the future, right? Look to the future. And I've talked to so many people that are like between 35, 36, 37, and like 42, and that's when it starts. 40, 50, 60, our DNA changes, and it's about getting you ready for the next chapter, the next decade of your life, to get you to let go of that stuff that you've accumulated over 40 years, which is a lot. It's a lot for everybody, okay? It's a lot. So that's what it's all about, is the more that we have COVID, right? And the more intense it gets, like we were talking about when we first started this, the ups and downs of the energy. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough for me, and like I said, I'm pretty clear. It's got to be really rough for people who are not clear, who still have loads of stuff on them and around them, right? Right? As an example, everybody knows getting rid of their stuff inside their house, which is wonderful, right? But Lee had 10 bags of clothes from his job, because people pass away and people say, I don't want any of their stuff, and they put him in bags and things like that. He went to the Salvation Army. He was gone for an hour. There was 20 people ahead of him to drop off clothes. Okay? People are finally getting the clue to get rid of stuff they don't wear, of stuff that they don't need. And that's part of COVID, right? I got time to clean. I got time to get rid of all this stuff in my closet that doesn't matter. I got time to get all this furniture in my basement out that doesn't matter. Again, about yourself too. It's time to clean house. It's time to absolutely clear yourself out of all the negative energy that you carry, right? Because you can't attract what you want if you're not at least giving yourself positive affirmations, right? If you're talking negative about yourself and things like that, if you're not doing your Steve Noble meditations and all those kinds of things, right? If you're not doing self-care, which everybody can do. I don't care what anybody says, like, well, Bill, I don't have time, or, yes, you do. There is time in everybody's day to steal away 10, 15 minutes, okay? Because I posted something from Tut sometime this week, I believe it was. It was Monday, I think it was. And it was like, you know, if if I gave you 5 minutes to just be, you know, with a clear mind and everything that you own, everything that you are is gone, you know, what again? And I don't know what it actually said. I might repost it again just because I think I should. But after I read it, I'm sitting at my table, I'm sitting in this chair, and I get up, I go out on my balcony, and I sit down in one of the rocking chairs, and all of a sudden I get the sensation of, I love my feet in sand. And I do, I love my feet in sand. I love my feet in sand, right? And so all of a sudden I saw my feet in sand. I'm sitting on one of the big boulders in front of, that are dark, that are black in color. And all of a sudden I feel a rush of water, waves on my feet. And I turn around, and the house I'm going to buy in Maui is right behind me. That's what that message meant that day. Chimes. See? I'm telling you guys, if you don't follow TUT on email, the messages that you get are for that day 99% of the time. I'm telling you, it's fabulous. It is fabulous. Hi, Linda. Hi, Christy. You know, so again, though that's another avenue that I get confirmation, right? Again, I would have never thought to do what it asked, but at that time I went, oh, okay. Got up from my chair, went outside. I think I was done with what I was doing, you know, and just sat down. And all of a sudden, I felt my feet in sand, and I love my feet in sand. And then all of a sudden, it came into my mind's eye, into my imagination, into my head. And sitting down, I'm like, oh, what am I sitting on? Oh, I'm sitting on the big black rocks in front of the house that protect it from hurricanes and things, from erosion, and break the water if there happens to be a hurricane. See? That is divine, I would say, intervention, communication. For everybody. For everybody. Right? Now, is there days when I get things that don't really make a difference? In the past 3 years since I've been following Tut? Yes. But I'm telling you, for the past 10 days, it has been cha-ching, spot on. And I think I posted like 3 or 4 days in a row. Yes, Adrian, it's tut.com. TUT.com. Yeah, I believe that's what it is. I can tell you afterwards if you want me to. If it doesn't come up on your computer. Hi, Gina. Again, one more avenue to bring you information. And I always talk about, you guys, spirit is energy, right? Spirit is energy, energy, energy. And they can manipulate things like the best of them. They can play with your phone, they play with the lights, they play with the TV, they play with the remote control, they play with all kinds of things. Mine love to talk to Alexa, which comes on, right? Siri on my tablet. Like, ding, I'm sorry, but I didn't get that. Right? I'm like, okay, and I'll say, well, who is it this time? And I'll hear your father. You know, or I'll hear spirit, or it'll say, oh, it's spirit. Okay. Or it'll say somebody else. Right? Now, that used to freak me out. It still freaks Lee out. You know, he's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, that's their electricity. So the cool thing is they can bring you messages if you give them the avenue to bring you messages. That's why I do 4 horoscopes a day, right? I do Tut every day. See? Because you never know. When you read it, when it resonates, you go, oh, gee, that's a pretty good thing. And then boom, all of a sudden you're inside of it. That's when it's good. That's when it's good. Okay? So again, another avenue for you to take. Again, if you haven't subscribed to Steve Noble's YouTube channel yet, please do, because I'm telling you what, you will get meditations if you're doing them. If you're not doing them, okay, if you're not doing them to clear your energy, if you're not doing them to ascend, if you're not doing them so that your spirit guides and guardian angels can activate that DNA that's inside your chest and in your belly, in your gut, okay, click on the clean out those chakras, a whole 9 yards, right? You're never going to be able to do it by yourself. You're never going to hear that. You are never going to be able, as a human, I don't care how powerful you think you are, as a human, you are not that powerful, Spirit says. No one, he says, no human is that powerful. They believe that they are, that they don't need it. That would be me. Until you're down and desperate. My first meditation showed up because I had a horrible 3 months, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm on a different track to ascending. All because of one meditation that I got from Angela. That's all it takes, guys. I'm telling you, that's all it takes is one avenue for them to bring you something that you connect to. But if there's nothing, Spirit says, if you live in a desert where you're not bringing yourself love and affection, where you're not allowing yourself to be connected, right? Not allowing yourself for some reason, and that's usually because ego is telling you, I don't need to do that. That was me. I don't need to do that stuff. If I needed to do that stuff, Spirit would bring it to me. That's always what I said. Well, January 2019, guess what happened at the end of the month? Boom, in my face. Dude, do this. It started the journey. See? Because I've never had to depend on anybody but myself my entire life. My parents, stuff like that. See? So again, being conscious and understanding, hey Lucia, understanding that you got to give that up. It doesn't serve you at all. It doesn't serve you at all. At all. Okay? So, the next thing I want to talk about is kind of heavy, and I hope I don't upset anybody, but we need to talk about understanding a little bit more about understanding who we are and the judgment thing again, okay? Now, we all know what happened in Kenosha, okay? And it's horrible. It's just horrible. It's horrible. There is no reason for somebody to die like that. No reason. Okay? And that might be because I'm a little bit more, but I truly believe that there's a reason why the things that we're not seeing in the past are now being shown to us on videotape, on our phones, things like that. And that's a good thing to me. Okay? But understanding, those of us that are white have and just most, I would say, just white. Most of the time, we have the privilege, right, of not being shot, not being pulled over, not being persecuted, okay? And I have people who think that I am a liberal nut, and I kind of am. I think we should take care of people. That's because I am connected, The universe did not bring us to Earth to have classes. Color of skin means nothing. On the inside, we're all the same. But it all depends on our training, right? All depends on our training, right? Our cultural circumstances, right? And I can look at my family, right? My mother's side of the family was very well-to-do, okay? And we were blessed with my dad, who worked his tail off, became something he was never. In this day and age, we would never be able to do that because he had no college at Consumers Energy in Jackson. Okay, he became the drafting supervisor. His team gave 3/4 of Michigan their addresses. That's what he did in the 70s and 80s. Okay, as the state expanded, right? He taught himself how to be that person, which none of us could do that today because it just wouldn't happen, right? Without school, right? But my father's side of the family was very, very poor. Very poor, okay? It's all in how we're brought up. It's all in of what we're taught. what's important. Okay? It's all in how we attract the right mate. Okay? I mean, I love my aunts and uncles. I thought they were fabulous. We didn't see them a lot, right? My mom said of the family we did, because mothers usually have the family that is more nurturing and things like that. My dad was the only boy in the family, so he was a guy. My mother would have to remind him, when's the last time you talked to your sisters? He'd call up his sisters, talk for 10 minutes tops. All right, love you, sis, click. And he was, okay, I'm done with that. Say that's the extent of my father's connection to his sisters, okay? But that's how he was trained. But understanding, and I always wondered this, why don't they have as much as we do? And how come we're not helping them more? Not understanding that back in that day, we didn't have a lot of extra. We were blessed, trust me, I lived a very, very blessed life. And I didn't understand that back then, because I had more money than they did usually, and that didn't seem right to me, because they were grown up. Right? But there was other people that I went to high school with, that I still know today, that are black, okay, or Latin, and they're and even if they have a good job and they live in a great place and everything else, they're still stopped for the stupidest things. You know, I mean, I drive like a madman, right? And again, I drive a nice car and everything else, and I know that I'm blessed from spirit. I know that they protect me from being stupid, right? They stop me. They don't allow me to get stopped by the cops. So I'm very, very conscious of that. But I drive like a madman. I mean, I am not a slow driver. I've never been a slow driver, right? I've gotten my share of tickets, right? But because I'm 60 years old, because I drive a nice car, because I'm white, okay? And I had this conversation with some people yesterday, and it really upset me, because this, again, what COVID is here to show us the difference between ourselves, right? They were more worried about the unemployment, right? The unemployment going, they were so glad it went from $600 extra to $300 extra, because, you know, those people don't deserve the extra $300. Those people are scamming the system. There's plenty that are scamming the system. And they're saying this to me. They know who I am, right? And they're standing firm in that fact that, you know what, that they're scamming. There's all kinds of scammers down there. And my response to them was, well, are you just as upset with the corporations who got $2 trillion for free? I can get you a list of the companies that took the money for free if you'd like me to. Are you just as angry with those corporations that stole the money from the government that they were given? And everyday individuals are living on $300 less. So in Michigan, at the top of the thing, you're making $632 a week. Well, I'll be honest with you. When I had my traditional career, I could have never lived on $600 a week. There's no friggin' way I could have lived on that. That's not the lifestyle that I led. Now, since I've changed jobs and changed careers and things like that, do I live on a lot less? A lot less. All my extra stuff I don't need anymore because I don't really need it. And I understand that now. It was just stuff, right? Hence why people are taking their stuff to Salvation Army, right? But understanding that when you carry that judgment for people, you don't know their situations. You don't know you're assuming that they are poor people that are scamming the system. But $2 trillion went to corporations that didn't deserve a dime, right? Most of us got $1,200 out of the package. We didn't get this much, you guys. I'm talking less than a thimble full of that money, and the rest of the money went to corporations for their bottom line. It's not right. It's not right at all. That needs to be flipped. That needs to be flipped. We're the ones in need right now, right? There's other people that are worse off than I mean, I'm blessed. I am blessed, and I give as much as I can to people all the time, right? We have to. But to have the judgment inside of our bodies, well, they're scammers. They're scamming the system. Well, the corporation, you're scamming the system too. You're not talking about them. You're talking about individual people that you assume, you assume they're black. These people are white. Trust me, they're assuming that they're black. Okay? Or poor white people who don't deserve. Now, why is that? Again, that's not who we are as a country. We've always lifted up the disadvantaged, the less thans. That's our job as a country. See? So when people have that judgment inside their hearts, inside their bodies, that's not the only thing that they judge. Trust me. No. They don't. They judge everything. Does that serve them? No. And then they come to me and wonder, how come I can't get blah, 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 blah. Well, guess why? Because you assume, you judge, and at $600 a week, that's only $15 an hour. Well, I have 3 clients, maybe more, who are used to making just about $2,000 a week. Okay? Hey Dimitri, it's $8,000 a month. And I used to be that person, right? I used to make $2,000 a week in my retail job. Okay? For probably 3-4 years in a row. I was banking, right? And I gave most of it away. Because that's just who I am, right? That's who I am. So I have a couple of those clients that make really good money. But guess what? They not really lost their job, but their company shut down. They couldn't work from home because of what they do for a living. Okay? So them living and trying to pay their bills on $962 a week, that's not even a mortgage for them, right? And we can't fault them because they've worked hard because again, I have people who have judged that. Well, Bill, they can do with less. Well, really? Are you willing to go with less? I don't have anything less, they'll say. Well, yes, you do. Well, they have too much. Really? So what's too much? What's too little? Right? Connecting to spirit, connecting to ourselves, connecting to humanity, you guys. That's what COVID is all about. COVID is here to level the playing field. Hey, Teresa, right? It is to get us to go, you know what? I need to stop judging them because, why? Why do you judge that person? Why do you judge that group of people, right? Like today I read things on Facebook about, hey Veronica, about the poor man in Kenosha being shot 7 times in the back when the cop was holding on to his shirt. Like, he shouldn't have walked to his car. He should have listened to what the cop said. He should have done this. He should have done that. You know what? How many times have you been stopped where the cop is an asshole? I can tell you 90% of the cops that have dealt with me in my lifetime. Trust me. And I got the ticket every single time because I'm an asshole back. I'm an asshole back. You know what? That's the way it is. That's who I used to be. Right? See? So how can you say if he would have? Have you been black before? Because if you've not been black before, you better take a history lesson on that. Have you been Latin before? Take a history lesson on that. Been Mexican before? Take a history lesson on that. See? We have to open up our eyes and we have to understand, you guys. Have to. This country is going to shift. It's going to change because of COVID. Okay? And we have to be prepared for that. We have to understand and get rid of that judgment that does not serve us. It doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve us at all. It doesn't serve us. Right? We should be heartbroken that this young man in Kenosha have 5 7 bullets put in his back at point blank range. What the F is that about? And I have my own belief about policemen. I know that we need them, but, see? Hi, Laura. Okay? I mean, I don't know if you heard the story about the woman who was delivering donuts in Pontiac 4 weeks ago, and she didn't know the area. She was circling around the neighborhood. She finally delivered her last 12, her 12 donuts, right? She works for DoorDash, I believe it is, right? And the Oakland County Sheriff pulled her over, and within 3 minutes of her asking, "Why are you stopping me?" with no answer, he had her handcuffed on the pavement, face down, and 7 other cops were there. She was delivering freaking donuts for DoorDash. But because people come to the neighborhood to drink or to buy drugs, right? Everybody who drives around the circles in that place is buying drugs. So they took her out of her car. They tested something in her car, said she had cocaine in her car, right? Took her to jail for 3 days, right? This week, Oakland County announced it wasn't drugs. No, it wasn't drugs at all. But the cops did whatever they did to justify. Again, she's black, African-American, little girl. I mean, she must have been 5'2", right? Like, there's no reason for that. Didn't have a gun, no knives, wasn't threatening. She's 5'2", right? Again, 5'2" with a gun, I can see it. But again, there's no reason to be like that. And that's what things, again, Adrian says, and the kids in the back seat are, 3 of his kids, boys are in the back seat, and they're crying because their dad just got shot. Again, it's all reactionary for those people, for cops. Okay? Had that been a white man, how about the kid in Kenosha who's 17 with the AR-15 across his chest, and the cop actually says to him, "Thank you for being here." Really? Do you really ask a guy with an AR-15 across his chest, who looks 17, right? "Thank you for being here," as he guns down and kills 2 people and hurts 2 others? And if you listen to what he said before on the news, "I'm here to protect this building." Dude, you're from freaking Illinois. What are you doing here? I have to. No, you don't. No. See? So again, it's mentality. It is understanding that our judgment towards people. I mean, granted, there's bad people in the world. Growing up in Jackson with Southern Michigan Prison, the largest walled prison in the world, with 2,900 people in it, men in it, I can show you just as many bad black people as I can show you white people. See? But we have the perception in our little skewed worlds because of what we're shown, because of what we're taught, that those are the bad people and these are the good people. My mother actually said to me I was probably 17, 18 years old, when I was in high school, "Do you have any white friends?" 1978. "Bill, do you have any white friends?" "Well, yeah, I got the guys I grew up with in the neighborhood. I got this person and that person." "Okay, well, why are you always with black people?" Only she didn't call them black people, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? Again, COVID is here, you guys. COVID is here for that is one reason. All that ancient energy that's been hidden is coming to the forefront. That's why George Floyd, the poor young lady in Louisville who got gunned down in her frickin' bed, right? And they were in the wrong apartment. Nothing, right? The poor kid, 12 years old, in Cleveland 3 years ago, who was playing with a toy gun in the playground. And the cop shot him and killed him. He's freaking 12. He had a gun. But that white 17-year-old who killed those 2 people last night and who shot 2 others was safe in his bed in Illinois when they came rat-a-tat-tatting on his door. Because they didn't perceive him to be the shooter. Why would they? He's white. So we have to take a really good look at ourselves, you guys. We have to understand that is something that we've been taught. That is something that we're taught about. They're trying to steal the money from unemployment. They're scamming the system. There's plenty of scammers. And there's plenty of white collar scammers. There's plenty of corporations that got most of that $2 trillion that they signed in to support businesses, right? And many of those businesses, hell, Kanye West got $35 million. For what? For what? His shoe company, what? I don't get it. I understand why, right? No, it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. Marina says she'll never own a gun. I won't either. No, I will never own a gun. My father had rifles in our house and the whole 9 yards because they hunted all the time, and my brother and him, and that was all fine and dandy. But no, it doesn't serve me at all. Because people are stupid. I mean, they just live in their world, and I hate to say it like that. They live in their world, and again, that's what COVID is doing, is taking away those blinders, is taking away that routine. So people have to pay attention. Laura said, she used to teach in Kenosha, and the KKK parents stopped me from teaching African American poems for Black History Month. And then I can't see anything else, Laura. Of course. Of course. See? KKK's been terrorizing people for centuries. Why aren't they terrorists? Jim Crow laws in the South. Black people couldn't vote till 1965. My parents got better problem voting. My grandmother voted for the first time in like 1920, you know. But my French grandmother was not allowed to. She got her citizenship, but because of the color of her skin, she was denied in Jackson. See? So every single person, race, within the white race. But other folks have been absolutely just silenced. And now because of COVID, all that ancient energy is going to be is being pushed to the front. See? Cops need to be held accountable. You can't do that. And when people say don't defund the police, they're not planning on defunding the police. Not at all. It's a wrong term that they picked, right? I know that. It's about because cops, after their 15 weeks of training to get a gun and a badge, they don't know how to counsel people who are angry at their spouse, at their children. And they call the police because you're going to help us. You're going to save us. That we've been taught that the police are going to understand the situation and help us. I can tell you, being young and being a white gay person in Jackson, that wasn't the case at all. Not at all. No. See? But I'm still white. So in that respect, I still had privilege. See? So that's what I'm saying as people listening to this start to dwindle because they don't want to hear it. They don't think it's what I should be talking about. But Spirit is very, very firm on the fact that we, as white people, have got to do our own soul searching. We have to do our own cleansing, Spirit says, and retrain ourselves to understand. Because if we don't, We're going to be the ones punished when COVID pushes through next year and we move into a new dimension, the fourth dimension. I'm telling you, get on the bus, baby. Get on the bus. Get on the bus. Okay? Because our country's going through change. And very, very soon, very, very soon, the have-nots will have more. And the haves will have less. You can call it anything that you want. I call it balancing power. We owe those people for all the pain and the suffering and just the and again, I can hear white people talking about the fact that well, you know what, he shouldn't have done that or she shouldn't have said that. Well, that doesn't no. That poor little boy who got murdered in the 1950s. They beat him by an inch of his life and they hung him. He's Emmett, right? Emmett Till, I think his name was. All because somebody said, a white person said that he made a comment about a woman's butt, a white woman's butt. They hunted him down and did that, and that was in the 1950s. See? And you wonder why they're angry? Oh, they need to forget about that stuff. Well, really? Were you hung from a tree? Was your uncle hung from a tree? Was your aunt hung from a tree? Emmett Till. Thank you, Teresa. No. Were my ancestors from another country persecuted? Definitely. Hey, Susan. Definitely. But not our entire heritage. No. Again, when that happens to us, when it is absolutely in the system, when it's absolutely bias, right? Again, white people get it too. Like I said, I can show you more white people in southern Michigan prison in Jackson. There's probably a 50-50 population. Many black people as there is white people. Okay? There's bad people all over the place. I'm telling you, COVID is the reckoning, Spirit says. He says it is the reckoning. And we have to get on that before we are not going to be punished. I don't want anybody to think they're going to be punished. It is about before you feel suppressed. Okay? No, that's not where the country or the world is headed. And that's why we got to love ourselves. That's why we got to love other people. We've got to stand up for other people. We have got to understand that everybody needs to be treated the same. Why are Detroit public schools so bad and Birmingham's got all the money? Bloomfield Hills has all the money. Troy has money. Because we do buy property taxes. Is that fair? It's an 87% black city. See? Well, this is mine. I understand that. But we, as a country, as a people, the American people, need to take care of everybody. So everybody has a fair chance, right? So that we can all do what we need to do together. Because we don't change. I know. Spirit says he would rather we change our society on our own by just a little prompting, by just a little nudge, than to have the universe completely rip apart our society, which is happening now. And then us having to rebuild it in a way where everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. I will tell you that I have gotten more than once from Spirit. Reparations for black people will happen. They deserve it. They deserve everything that was promised them after the Civil War, when they were free. But they couldn't vote till 1965, you guys. And in the Jim Crow South, they couldn't do anything until 10 years ago, 12 years ago. For sure. Where there wasn't a poll tax, where there wasn't going to get beaten, where they weren't going to get hanged, where they weren't going to get all these things. See? Dorothy asks, do you think the universe will wipe us out? No, not at all. We're not going anywhere, but our lives are changing. Okay? Our thought process will change because we will have to go through all of the angst. Again, that's what COVID's for. How many people freaked out in the lockdown of the spring? How many people? A lot. Because they're stuck in their house. They don't have their job to work to keep in their routine. They got to deal with their kids for the first time in a really long time. They have to deal with their spouse for a really long time. They can't go out for takeout. They can't go out to restaurants. Guess what? It's a new way of thinking. It's a new way of learning. It's a new way. See? And we don't have a choice, you guys. I'm telling you what. As a human race, as a white race, we have to understand everybody has to be equal. Okay? Now, is ambition a good thing? Of course it is. And it will be in the future. Is luck? Nothing's luck. It's all from the universe. It's what your soul journey is. I get all of that. It's us as humans who don't look at people who are a different color or don't have the clothes that we have or whatever it is. Again, I know. Spirit says another reason the mall's closed. You got to wear the clothes you have. It's no more new that you wear the clothes you have. Well, that didn't make a lot of people happy because I have a client who just couldn't do it. She was so frustrated with, oh my God, Bill, I have to have all the things that I've worked so hard for. Okay, but you're not supposed to have them now. You're not supposed to have them. Because you don't need them. You're stuck in the house all day. But that was her mentality. For many people, I've had a couple of people like that, guys and females, right? That's our routine. That's so that we don't have to pay attention to what's going on in the world. It's our own little cube of what we live in. That's all I want to, because that had nothing to do with me. Until somebody busts in your door and takes your stuff. See? Then it's their fault, not my fault. See? So Dorothy asked, so have the black community put them into this journey if nothing is by chance? Yes, exactly. And you can look past through history, okay? That we're the largest economy in the world, the largest military in the world, right? So we're the most powerful nation in the world. But we had slavery more than any other country in the world, okay? We had slavery. They were still bringing slaves after it was unlawful to bring slaves. We stole them from Africa and brought them to America to serve white people. And I understand back then it was no big deal. It's what they thought, that white people were superior. Again, Dorothy, I'll say the same thing about white people who were poor. Same thing. Their struggle is to have that in their lives. Again, my mother and father grew up in the Depression. That was their soul journey, right? I did not grow up in the Depression, right? I believe it was not here during the Depression. I was still in spirit because I was born in 1960. See? Because I'd already experienced it sometime in my soul journey. See? Usually we have to experience big things once. Not twice, not three times, but once. Because we need to have the experience. But I know plenty of black people who have made it out of their surroundings if they were bad, but I know lots that didn't. And that's because of rules in place from white people to keep them down. Again, I have friends on here that grew up in Jackson, grew up with me, went to high school together. Tell you what, they weren't part of that. The two or three that's on here now, I don't believe, right? But I know friends that were, and they're still in Jackson, and and because they didn't have a growth out of that, because they didn't have the support at home. That's not what they were taught. Because their parents weren't taught that, and their parents weren't taught that. See? Again, my mother made my father take care of his family. He didn't come from that family. My grandfather died when my dad was 18. My grandfather came back from World War I, where he had met my grandmother and never worked after he came home. They were very, 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 very poor. Very poor. Okay? And when my mother married my father, okay, the cute little freckle-faced, 5-foot-tall, white farm girl married my father, this olive-skinned, dark-skinned, 5'8", 160 player of a man. Beautiful. I mean, just beautiful. Lily white, and this kid who looks like he's black. Okay? Full lips. I mean, my father was extremely attractive. See? She told him, no, if I quit my job, you have to make sure that you take care of your kids. Got to. Once we start having kids, there's nothing you can say or do. You have to do what you have to. Sometimes he had 2 jobs. Sometimes he had 3 jobs before I was born. Because he loved my mother so much, and he understood where he came from. And that's not where my mother came from. Okay? He knew he had to do better than what he was taught. His sisters didn't get that memo. They didn't. See? Hey, Jason. See what I'm saying? We are who we are because of the way that we were taught. If our parents did not teach us, if their parents could not teach them, if their great-great-parents couldn't teach them, it's not their fault. We live by example. Spirit talks about that all the time, right? From the day you're born to the day you're 13, your ego tapes everything that happens in your life. And then at 13, 14 years old, it hits the play button, and you have to overcome everything that happened in the first 13 years of your life that ego taped. And it's never the good stuff. Now, some of us have advantages because of the color of our skin. And I know plenty of people who are poor that I grew up that are still poor. And I feel for them. But they weren't taught. Black folks too. They weren't taught what they needed to learn because their parents didn't know, right? They didn't know how to make it. They didn't know. They weren't educated as well as they should have been. You know, understanding that with COVID, it's our responsibility, everybody's responsibility. Teresa says that's why teacher mentors are very important. Exactly. And I have 2 or 3 teachers, clients that teach at Detroit Public Schools, and they're fabulous, absolutely fabulous teachers, because they love the kids that they've got. They love them to death because they're trying to be a positive influence in those kids. See? But then they go home to something that's not what we're used to. Now, are our lives beautifully and perfect growing up? Of course not. But nothing like that. And those of us who were never hungry, those of us who always had a bed to sleep in, who always had clothes, who always had heat, right? Who always went on vacation, we're privileged. But that was because my father worked so hard because he knew he had to for my mom. See? But she made him be that man because he loved her so much. He didn't want to have a life where he wasn't connected to his children. And he was always connected to us. See? So as we go through COVID for the next year and a half, guys, okay, we have some reckoning to do. Get rid of that judgment about other people, about other races. There's bad ones everywhere. Trust me. Southern Michigan Prison in Jackson, let's take a stroll, right? Because that does affect us. We have to understand that we can't be worried about the scammers at the bottom trying to survive and not worried about the $2 trillion that went to corporations in this country not more than 5 months ago that scammed it. Over $2 trillion, 2.3 I think it is. We got $1,200 of that, that's it. And then through his piecemeals and things like, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Our government in times like this is supposed to take care of us. And these people that say, well, Bill, they're not going to go back to work because they make too much money. Okay, then pay them more money to go back to work. Because at $600 a week, that's $15 an hour. Don't you deserve $15 an hour? I do. Even if I work at McDonald's, even if I work at the 7-Eleven, right? Even if I work anywhere, it doesn't matter. People deserve $15 an hour. Even in Missouri and in Kansas and freaking Louisiana and all those places, that the economy in Mississippi, Spirit says, that are kept down to keep black people down. That's what it is. So I've gone over time. Spirit really wanted me to get that out. You heard the chimes a couple times on big items. Okay? So as we go forward, you guys, as things happen, as things are brought to your attention, again, the 17-year-old white kid that had the AR-15 slept in his own bed the night he shot those people because they thanked him for being there, the cops did. Well, the poor guy two days before went into his car and they shot him one guy shot him 7 times in the back. Why? So, okay. So, thanks everybody. I don't mean to leave on that type of note, but we need to be more conscious. We need to be more conscious. We need to understand more. We need to worry about the top taking all that money and not giving the people anything. It's very, very, very true, guys. Because I'm telling you what, the universe will crush us. And I would rather have us who are connected, us who know who we are, us who are working on ourselves, us be the leaders into that change. I'm telling you, it's possible. It's possible. So anyway, guys, namaste. I enjoy everybody checking in and following me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And I will have this on YouTube later today and on Instagram in the next couple of minutes. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you next Thursday at 3 for Coaching for the Soul, okay?